What's going on, everybody? Welcome back for an extra special episode of the Crane Kicks Lex podcast. We've got Jessica here. There's Dylan. Of course, it was a light week. Not a lot of news. Not a lot really going on. We had that game for the men's team. That was a way that maybe we'll talk about next time. I'm okay with that, aren't you guys? Feel like I'm good. This episode is going to be full of good vibes, and we don't want to sully that. Because actually, right now we have joining us our new head coach of the Women's Super League team, Coach Mac. Coach Mac, how you doing?
Hey guys, I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We really appreciate you joining us. I know a lot of fans are really excited about this season. We've got one game under our belt as well as all the preseason stuff. So it's really cool to see that kicking off. So we just are curious to kind of get things rolling for you. You've been here for a few months now.
Yeah.
How's Lexington treating you? What are you thinking about our city, and just kind of obviously very different from where you've been in the past?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a great transition so far. People have been so welcoming in the club and outside of the club. So, as you can imagine, it's been a roller coaster of the last 2 months, just preparing for the season with a short time. So, I haven't been able to explore much of the city yet, but, little by little I've experienced it's been a positive experience. People are so nice here. I love the just the green. It's so, the trees and nature and horse farms, and I've been able to see some of those, and it's been positive so far.
Yeah. The Kentucky sunsets, have you enjoyed those?
Yes. Sunset and sunrise, actually. It's been it's beautiful out here. So, everything has been good so far. It's been busy. We're putting a lot of work in to make sure that we get the season started off right. And, it's been a positive experience. And, I couldn't ask for any better place to be right now.
Well, how did you get into soccer, and what eventually inspired you to make the move from player to coach?
Yeah. So I'm originally from Japan. So when I was 3 or 4 years old, my grandma would take me to a small park and we were kicking soccer ball. And then, she advised that maybe I join a club. And I didn't know what I was doing back then. I was kind of forced upon them there. But when I started, I immediately fell in love with the game. And, it's taken me, from Japan to the US. I couldn't speak English when I first moved here. And I believe, because I was able to play soccer, I was able to make a lot of friends and being able to communicate with others and trying to fit into, to the new country right away. And from there, just, everything I did was soccer, every move I made or every, just the community I belonged in. And it was always surrounding soccer. So that was how I started and continued to play the game. And when I retired from soccer when I was, about 26, my eventual mentor, Lauren Donaldson, told me, I'd be a good soccer coach. And I wasn't entirely sure what that meant because I didn't really want to coach soccer when I retired, when I was playing. So I didn't really have a vision for that. But when I started coaching youth soccer, my first team was U9 boys team back in 2013. And ever since, just fell in love with working with soccer players and coaches. So, that's like the shorter story of the shorter answers to it.
That's super interesting too that you talked about Lauren Donaldson. Didn't you get to work with him in Chicago?
Yes.
In a coaching capacity?
Yes, I worked with him about a year and plus.
That's pretty cool to have him be your mentor and then kind of bring you into coaching, and then you guys get to work together in a coaching capacity as well. That's really special, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's been a mentor of mine since he was one of the main reasons I got into coaching. And every job I took, from the youth game to college to women's professional to USO championship, to every job I took, he gave me advice. And I think he was offered a job as a head coach, and he asked me right away if I would be interested in being his first assistant. It was no brainer for me to take that job when he made that move.
Awesome.
That's amazing.
That's really cool. So what then excites you the most about being the next head coach in Lexington for the second season of the women's Super League?
Yeah, this club has such a potential, and the great people in the organization. So I think the vision of the club excites me for sure. When I first interviewed for the job and meeting with the ownership, I just had a no-brainer of the vision that the club had, and obviously having all of the infrastructure that the club offers is very helpful to do a daily task and going into work. Really excited to work, and if you have the resources, it's essentially what you want to put into the organization. There's a level of infrastructure there to work with, and that's another thing. And then just we want to make sure we provide a good, exciting product on the field and win games, making sure that we have a vision of a winning championship and winning trophy for the club. So those are done by creating a good environment for all of the players and staff. And I believe that's a passion of mine, and that's my main philosophy I have as a coach as well, to create a good environment for people that work in the club. And so all those things combined, I thought, are those things possible with the infrastructure and the vision of the club given? And I thought, the quick answer was yes, and it was no brainer for me to be here, and really excited to be, get this going here.
I love that. So, like, you kind of mentioned your coaching philosophy. Like, really, if you distilled it down, a lot of coaches have different approaches to the game and how they work with personnel, how they work with the front office, just how they envision soccer, even beyond like the specific place that they work at or coach for. Like, what is like kind of your core philosophy?
Yeah, so my core is, it's really repeating a lot of this, but I really truly believe in this is, really creating an environment where people in the organization come in and enjoy being there and they're developing, whether it's a, first year rookie to a 10th year veteran, or first year head coach or first year coach, or first year staff to a veteran staff. Like, all of the people that come into the organization is, they feel that they're getting better at their job, or they're getting better as a player, and they can be their authentic self. We don't ask anybody to be somebody else, but everybody have different ways of giving value to the organization. So, as a head coach of this club, my job is to making sure that that environment is protected and created and improved over time. So those are my really main coaching philosophy.
How has that changed over the years from your previous experience coaching?
Yeah, no, great question. I think,
Thank you.
my initial stage of coaching career has led me to that point. Was a youth soccer, was just a naturally, I just had 16 players in front of me that I was working with, and I fell in love with coaching because of the desire of those players wanting to get better. It was a natural feeling of the youth players are having. They enjoy, they get better at soccer, and that was one thing that was exciting me. And really, when I was working for University of Denver men's soccer for 6 years with Jamie Franks, that really created my, solidified my coaching philosophy and how I go about things. College soccer is a little bit less outcome oriented, but really focused on the human development of people. And it's really a human capital side, and they're student athletes. So not just soccer, but we were doing a lot of work in community and a lot of work to make sure that the academic side of the players was set. And, you really try to create an environment, which dorm room is sufficient to going into classes, or what kind of like food they're eating, or what kind of, mentorship they're getting, or what kind of leadership development program you can add, or sports psychology to, just creating a really holistic experience of all the players, putting a lot of work there. So that made me not only a soccer coach, but also, the creator of a great environment. And then just over the period of time, if you let me talk, I just keep talking. So I just stop. Tell me.
No, this is what we're here for. We love it.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear us.
Yeah.
So, But when I went to Japan, I was coaching the women's professional team there. Different type of training regime, different the player psychology they have, just the desire to wanting to get better and wanting to train is very high level, different coaching methods. And so I really grew as a coach in terms of different types of training. And they didn't I would say, just in the like a land and space standpoint, they don't have much of a resources there, as well as they don't have it as good as most of the U.S. professional teams do. And they take everything they take pride in having, and continue to really grow as players in the league and team. So I learned a lot from there. And then New Mexico United was a club. It was a state that I moved. I moved from Tokyo to a small town in New Mexico called Carlsbad, New Mexico. Those people in Carlsbad really supported me in my upbringing. And I would see some people that when I was a coach at New Mexico United, I would see some people that I used to go to high school with that didn't really see me speak English. And now, as you can tell, like I can't shut up, and so I stopped to keep talking. So it was probably shocking them, but there was a sense of fulfillment that I grew to add to the community. So I did a lot of hospital visit work, or going to visit small local cities to do a clinic and things like that. So I learned quite a bit about how much of the community ties as a professional club is important to have good success and good foundation. So I learned, quite a bit of those things. And going into Chicago, working with my, closest mentor I had, different level. It was a league. It was a league that was growing rapidly with a lot of resources put in. But the top players, going into Olympics and coming back, just really learned how to mentor, players that are really top, certain percentage of the players that are really going after Olympics, and they were, doing everything they can to win. And just really learned about, how to, not only that was my first women's professional team in the U.S. coaching. I learned a lot about the history of the league, and just women's soccer in general in the country, and how the national team operates with different countries, and just dealing with different federations. So I got to, I've been really fortunate. Not only these clubs that I just mentioned, but all of the head coaches I got to work with and for along the way have, really shaped me to who I am today. So I don't even know what the question was, but that's
That's okay. It was great.
Experience.
All of it applied. We love it.
Well, has acting ever been part of your job experience as a coach? Acting.
That's a good. Yeah. So there's a couple times in New Mexico I had to be on a commercial, and like I know girls may find me for it, but I think I need more
writing this down.
Yeah, I need more development in that category.
So what you're saying is we'll see you on those like box 56 spots before long. For things, pliables and. All right. So when we look at this, you've talked about wanting to bring exciting football to our city. Like, what should Lexington fans expect from a Coach Mack system? I mean, we've gotten a little bit of a taste, but overall, what do you think fans should look forward to most?
Yeah. So I think the on the field product, you'll be able to see that we're prepared. We have style play, that we have a game model that everybody can follow on the team, and we'll be prepared to play any opponents. And just really, our group will be united. We push authenticity of each player, so that each player's strength should come alive. And in terms of statistically speaking, we want to dominate the ball. We want to have plans in terms of possession and other possession in all phases going into the game. We like to have the ball at the same time. If the opponents were to press with higher numbers, then we're able to go direct also and keep the ball and high up the field also. So we'll be tactically flexible and prepared, but we want to play attacking football. We want to create a lot of chances. We want to have the ball majority of the time and be really in control of the game. So Those are like in a nutshell.
Yeah, I think the fans will really appreciate that. Like everybody here really enjoys attacking, exciting football. Like you have some coaches that have systems that work amazingly well, but maybe not the prettiest, right? But results driven for sure. And so, I think sometimes it's tough finding one of those balances and figuring out, okay, like what's going to be effective, but also what's going to be appealing to watch and kind of express who we are as a team. So, I think that the fans are really pumped, and that first game that we all got to see. For anybody who didn't get to watch the Racing Lou matchup that you guys had, that was awesome, and I think it delivered. I think it really showed us exactly what you just said, that we're going to constantly take it to teams and be that attacking presence. So I know we're all pumped for that.
Yeah, I think historically. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying, and even with Fort Lauderdale, it was awesome, and just how often, different players would just kind of come out of nowhere and just do something awesome. It was a great game.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the I think the women's soccer is getting a lot of like resources, and there's so many good players in the states and in this league period. And then also we have tons of. I mean, our roster is great. Really happy with all the players we have. However, like you want to be tactically flexible because I have a respect for all people who go direct and really stick with the style and getting results, because I think that wins also. I think if my coaching philosophy is to get the best out of everybody, in the authentic way. I just felt as a player, I'm a smaller type of player, more technical player. So when I was on the team that's direct, I struggle to show my presence, and I learned quite a bit as a technical player on a direct team, how to increase my plays and actions in a game per 90 minutes. However, we want to be able to be tactically flexible to show each individual's have a role in that system. If we need to go direct, we have personnel that can play direct, and then players come underneath to play a little bit of football after we go long in that first pass. Or, we have players enough to, build out in a certain situation if the press isn't as much. And, if they're sitting in a mid block, we can take teams apart. So we want to be flexible. If I'm preaching that, then making sure that the system fits to where it's flexible, and trying to have more control of the game, so that each individual's strength come alive in those moments.
Yeah.
Love it.
Is it like flexible enough where you're building lineups like based on just the players and their skill set?
Yes, yeah. I think if we're subbing in different outside back, then can we tilt the field the other way or do different things? I think those things will come, take time for sure. Trying to build brick by brick at this point, and with a new, totally new roster, with players that we kept also, but it's like the majority of players are new on the field right now, and I think not the new players here. It's more like the new mix of players, I should say. Those are when those things are happening, it's difficult. We're still getting to know each other, how we play, and how we are as people too. And so it takes time, but if we're trying to build brick by brick, I believe we can accomplish that. So it takes a little bit of time to do it, but that's the aim that we're going towards. And also, I think that the team. I think being direct and having this one way of soccer, may be able to win the earlier course of the games. We want sustained success, and to do that, making sure that we have a system of play, but we're developing each day, each week, and week in and week out. So. I think that's why we need to be flexible, and we need to have different types of attack and defend in different phases. So that's kind of the approach we're taking.
Based on kind of what you touched on so far and how you want to develop the players, I know the roster looks a lot different this year, but last year the club faced quite a bit of adversity with the women. And so as you lead us into year 2, are there any primary areas of focus that you want to use to help the women find success on the pitch and how would you measure that beyond wins and losses?
Yeah, so I think it does go back to my philosophy of making sure that the environment is created to where players feel they're developing. That's one. So how we approach on a daily basis, we're trying to make some changes there. We don't talk too much about last season because I wasn't here. However, this year going forward, We'll do things this way, and we're trying to get the players buy-in. To get the buy-in is like, you have to do it sustain a period of time. You can't, anyone can have a good one day or a good week maybe, but trying to making sure that the players feel they're developing over time allows you to have fulfillment in coming into work. We get happy and unhappy by winning or losses. We need to win more games for sure than we lose, and making sure that we're winning all of the games we can win. Our goal we set on the first day of the season. Our goal is to win championship of the Super League this year, and that hasn't we have to say it, and then continue to believe in it. But at the end of the day, that's just an outcome goal. What we're in control of is our process and making sure that what areas are we growing in. Okay, this player needs to grow in this area to add more values to the team because she's so good at these things. And those are the conversations we have every day. I've been lucky to have staff that we have, a tireless working with not only the whole team perspectives, but individual perspective. We spend a lot more time individually with each individual player, regardless of the minutes. We can pull clips from the training and then making sure that those players that are not getting minutes are getting time with the coaches and trying to make sure that they're developing. So those are like, take time, and it's a challenge we have, but it's work that we love doing, so it doesn't feel like work most of the time. And yeah, so creating an environment, making sure that you can have an infrastructure, but also making sure that the people that we're bringing in is good people, the like-minded people. So that's also a step-by-step process.
And it's so refreshing to hear too, just because everything that you've mentioned, I think the fans really, they can feel the passion and the energy and the desire to succeed and build up the players. So I think the fans will really appreciate that too.
No, thank you. I just, first time I stepped to the club, and even throughout the interview process, I saw a lot of people that have been supporting the club or have been working for the club for a long, long time. And then I think like the club keeps people within, and it's just kind of making sure that to do that is make sure we're having a good infrastructure. I think if people committed to the club, then we need to make sure that they're creating the right environment for these people. So that's always within our control. I'm not coming in and one flip of the light switch and then winning all the games to be fantastic. But I think it's more fulfillment comes from each individual in the locker room is growing, and what we're in control of, and we know what we're not in control of. So I think that becomes confidence, that becomes belief, that becomes culture, and that's something that I really love doing as a coach. So that's that.
Yeah, and one quote that we've heard you say in the initial set of interviews and stuff with all the media day was how you wanted to turn this into like a fortress of soccer, which I think a lot of people were very hyped to hear. Because really that can mean a lot of things, right? Like you said, it could just be you're here supporting the players in ways that make them feel valued, and then eventually that translates into great performances, and then that also translates to other players wanting to come and play here, and then we get a great reputation just on those things. And honestly, players need that, right? To perform well, you got to feel good and feel supported. Beyond that, did you have a vision past the support of players and kind of what you're doing on the field as far as what you meant by turning this into a fortress for soccer?
Yeah, I think it is the environment, and we need to get results, of course. And I truly believe that the probability of having success is in your control by developing people inside. So that's a thing. So I believe that I believe we're going to win. by really growing these players and growing these just staff members, also staff or multipliers right away. They take care of, whatever in the category they have, whether it's the equipment personnel, or assistant personnel, or sports performance personnel, or those. They are multipliers of people. They have to manage all 24 to 26 players that we have in on any given time, and so essentially getting not just the players but staff to grow for sure. And then so then an outcome becomes, okay, there's like so many controllables in a game. It's weather, location, schedule, opponent roster, injuries, or you could go down the list. But we're in control. But we're in control. I think that results in a lot of the personal development. So so and so went to Lexington Sporting, and she became this. She got really good at this, and she became this holistic individual who any professional teams want to have. And I think if that person leaves this club to a better place, I continue to support that. But however, they can also choose to stay. And then I think that's what it means to be a fortress. Is people looking into a club and say, oh, I want to go there. I want to play for that club. There's something happening right there. Oh, they're having a training session at the highest level possible in this country and in globally, or these are getting these type of training, or these player, this staff member has this flexibility in he or her job, and they're developing that program to this successful level. So the person grows in those moments. If you're given so much responsibility and given so much belief in that, and grow, then the entire organization grow from that. And that's what I mean by fortress is, we're not only winning by just whatever that's happening and that's uncontrollable. We're winning by really believing in the process, and that's what I mean by being making this place a fortress.
I feel like you're like secretly listening to every fan's conversations, because you're saying everything we want to hear, man. It's great. we love it. That those types of things are really important to fans here, is the idea that, we can take players and of course, developing them and then selling them and, letting them kind of do their thing and reach that next level, and us benefiting from it as well is great. But, everybody really loves whenever we can have those players that feel like, man, I want to play here. Like, this is where I want to play, and I'm going to put on that badge every day, and I'm going to give it my all. And so having a coach who feels the way you do and very much invests in the idea of building people up and making them feel like this is the place to be is really important, because that's going to translate for us fans in the sense of, players wanting to stay here and play here as long as they can. So that's a big thing for Lexington fans.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've touched a lot on your variety of experiences. Like you've coached lots of different levels. You've coached in Japan, you've coached throughout the US. What so far, and it's very early, but what so far kind of stands out to you as unique in the Super League that maybe sets it apart from other leagues?
I think this is a league that's it's changing so much. It's growing rapidly. And it's still size-wise, it's 9 teams. Continue to grow. So I think there's it's almost the league of a lot of unknowns for sure. But it's also the growth is happening, and it's an exciting growth, and a lot of people paying attention to it. I think the continuation of growth of the league is important. I know there's over 100 new players in the league. And so, I think that it's first year was done. This is the second year starting. So, I think, you can leave a lot of different, types of first time doing this in the league and things like that. But, you can always, looking for the league to grow. I mean, just us having a European model of the league schedule is one, new thing that nobody's touched. MLS has talked about it before. So was the USO Championship or the USO League. So NWSL in the past too. And, we're doing that right now. And, there's a benefits and needs work environment to making sure that the winter games can get done, cleanly and things like that, I think. But I think it's also a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity for, not just players and coaching staff, but ownership and a league standpoint, we can make it a really good thing here. So the opportunity in the future is what's bright about this league and how it's structured. But that comes with the responsibility for all of us. And then another thing, that I think, like, I've been a USL player and a USL coach on the men's side. I just love how much the teams are tied to the local communities in the USL level. So having that sense of responsibility that's given to the people in organization is a great thing to have. Like there's a reason you wake up in the morning, and when I'm driving into the stadium, most of the days I see the crest sticker on one of the cars I'm driving up to it. So that's that gives us a lot of motivation, and it takes more time, but I always mention to the players, like, you're representing the club in anything that you're doing. When you're outside, being in the community, making sure that we're giving back to get the support from fans and the community is so important, because that is, at the end of the day, that's what gives you fulfillment as well in terms of being a professional player, is like, what do you want to be remembered for? So I think that's what's nice about the USL league too. So those are the things that I look forward to.
You were touching on your previous experience, in the communities. How do you hope to connect with the community here of LSC and in Lexington? And then, like, how do you hope to connect with the fans specifically, and their experience of supporting the team this year?
Yeah, thank you. Making sure that we'll connect. On the game day, we're making sure that we're acknowledging the fans, and getting the energy from you guys is really important for us. That's game day. We're gonna not only win all of the games, but we're gonna go through tough moments together. And I know you guys have done that over the up and down in a season. You've done that to the club, and we always owe that to the fans and community, to making sure that we acknowledge and get the energy from you guys. And then, like, I think the non-game days, when we have community work, community service, we'll continue to push for frequency of the community events, and making sure getting to know the fans' faces and getting to have good communication and dialogue with you guys is important. And I think the club is doing best to continue to improve in that aspect. So I think, as a head coach, and making sure that we're conscious about those opportunities, and making sure we're taking the best of it is the thing.
I think that'll be huge, because you mentioned how we're on the European calendar, and some of those game days are a little rough, and I'm sure the players and coaches feel that too. And so year one, attendance was a struggle, but I think a lot of that was because the weather was always rainy. It was always like 40 degrees, and so
us diehards were there.
We were there. We were soaked.
We were there.
We were soaked and cold.
I don't doubt it.
That's for sure. Teeth chattering, but I think that everything you said goes a long way, though, because it's in its infancy. Just year two versus the men's side, which is in year three. So a couple more years to build and grow and grab those people's attention. So just even being visible and recognizing fans and taking those opportunities to be in the community, I think, is going to be absolutely massive, because that's something we harped on all last season. We were just like, please, everybody, just come out and like support. It's awesome. Like, just do what you can to get to the stadium. But I think that'll go a long way.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. I think we need to make sure that we're putting an exciting product on the field, and having success on the field also, and making sure every minute that we're on the field, we're giving the best we can out on the pitch. And I think that's a minimum requirement. And I think just appreciating support. And I've seen some great the other day, the men's side against Louisville had tons of fans in there, and that looks exciting. And that's what we want to do also. I think it's one club, and we're one club. So making sure that we're providing a good, exciting time when you guys come out. It's cold outside. We're making sure that we're making sure running and providing effort and performance on the field. And it's cold day, rainy day. whatever the circumstances, we'll do everything we can in our control to get the best product on the field.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well,
Warm us up with goals.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
the jumping up and down helps, the cheering. And I know we're super excited for the home opener coming up this Sunday on the 7th. And I hope my vision and what I hope we can get from everybody in the community is to get the crowds out supporting the women, like the crowds that the men are drawing in. And I know we're super excited for the home opener. They had the kit reveals for the women recently, and so we're curious which of the LSC women's kit is your favorite.
Yeah, I like both. I love both of them. But the green one, first time I saw, I just really loved the color and everything with the green one.
Yes.
Um,
Tyler's wearing that.
Yeah, I mean, away kit's beautiful. I think when you wear, the shorts and socks all like one color, and everybody's wearing it out on, against Fort Lauderdale, I thought they were beautiful too.
Yeah.
But my favorite color is green, and that jersey is really stands out for me.
Yes.
It was
No.
destiny that you're here. Written in the stars somewhere.
Mhm. Yeah.
Love it.
I think
So-
of the Crane Kicks Lex crew, I think the home women's kit is probably the top favorite of all the kits this
Nice.
season.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I will say though, the away kit managed to convince my wife to buy a kit for the first time ever. So that's
Nice.
kind of a big deal. She was like,
Yeah.
you know what? I think I kind of want that. And I was like, what? All right. I just kind of look at it as her having a kid is kind of the same as me having it. So whatever, we're going to just chalk it up to being part of my collection.
That's perfect.
There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, so this is just like kind of an indulgent question. And
Yeah.
I think it kind of tells a little bit about people. But I'm curious, if you could have dinner with 3 football players or coaches, past or present, who would they be?
Mhm.
And give me a why.
Yeah, so I had Andres Iniesta as one of them.
Ooh, yeah.
Just with his ability, him and I, we're both the same height, plays similar position growing up. So I watched a lot of him. And I actually got to see him live in Kobe when I was coaching INAC Kobe. He was with Vissel Kobe, so I got to see him. He's one of the players I really like to hear, his training method or how he, what he thinks in the game situation. Zinedine Zidane is the next one.
Oh, yeah.
Not just only the legend as a player, but he just coached an extremely good Real Madrid team to Champions League, multiple wins in the Champions League, and I just feel like he's a quiet, but then he's such a great coach that should be celebrated even more. I just like to just spend time with him for sure. The third one was really difficult. I mean, easy one was say Messi in this moment, but there was a player in Japan named Kazuyoshi Miura. I believe he's 50 something now.
Legend.
He's still playing.
He's still playing. Yes.
Yeah.
Every time I get an update about him playing, I feel worse about myself.
Wow.
I'm 36 and I can't even hang in rec league soccer.
I watched him growing up. He was on a Tokyo Verdy, which has a green jersey. That was initially why my favorite color was green to begin with.
That's really
and I
cool.
just watched him growing up. He's just passion for the game.
Yeah.
Still lives on as a player. So if I can spend a little bit of time with him, that'll be amazing.
That's crazy inspirational. I just love seeing every time he signed with another team and they're like, yeah, he's playing right now. And I'm like, man, I want to be him when I grow up.
Yeah.
I got a lot of work to do.
Yes.
I'm way behind, but you can dream. Is Tokyo Verde your favorite club? Or is it just one that you kind of followed because of him?
I think that's probably my first favorite club growing up and just knowing. So it's, it's rooted to probably be my favorite club.
Who do you follow nowadays?
Yeah, so I'm gonna disappoint you. I I don't have a one specific Premier League club that I follow. And
Mm-hmm.
I grew up watching Manchester United for the majority of it, and then
Mm-hmm.
kind of faded away. But always like Barcelona and Bayern Munich are the two of my favorite teams that I've always followed. So probably FC Barcelona.
Nice.
Nice.
It's going to be funny whenever Tokyo Verde is wondering why all their sales have skyrocketed. Lexington, Kentucky.
Yeah.
When everybody finds out they wear green and it's your childhood club. We're going to see random Tokyo Verde jerseys.
Yeah, that would be
in
amazing.
The stands. That'd be kind of cool. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That's amazing. All right, I have one last question for you, and this is just kind of off the cuff because of what you said. So I know you mentioned coaching wasn't really initially in your plans, and then you were kind of inspired and encouraged to pursue that. What would you kind of say it has been the most challenging thing about transitioning into coaching that maybe at first you were like, whoa, man, this is tough, but then you eventually overcame it, or you're still working through it?
Still working through, and I think the sport of soccer changes every day, so you have to improve yourself every day is what I really truly believe. As a player, I was more of like a flashy technical attacking midfielder type of player that was probably seen a little bit selfish times, like not as much of a defending effort there. To coaching is, you have to make sure that, you set yourself aside and making sure, you put yourself in everybody's shoe, and, you're like, the more you get to the professional level, it feels this way, but you're not making everybody happy in that moment. And I think player that maybe is struggling through some of the minutes and opportunities and things like that, and will continue to improve that person is my passion work. But I also I feel for them too in those moments. So I think just making sure that the toughest transition is when they're not as happy in that situation, I get disappointed also, and there's fear of failure that I personally have to not want to let anybody down in those moments. So making sure that the outcome might not be something that we want, but continue to shift that mentality to the process is easier said than done. And then I think that's the portion that's a struggle, but that's the portion that I love about the game. And so it goes hand in hand. But that's probably the one thing I continue to work to be a better leader and a multiplier for this organization.
Yeah, totally understand that. Just trying to make sure everybody feels that value and that you're there to help them progress, even whenever it's tough or whenever they're not in the starting 11 or the starting 18. Even it can be tricky to kind of work through that, I'm sure. But that's great to have a coach that's got your back and takes it personally, though, that they want to see you improve and get to that level. So that's a phenomenal answer. All right, before we let you go, you've spent a ton of time with us. Give us your pitch to the fans to come out. What would you say to the fans that maybe didn't make it out to year one that are thinking about year two? What's going to push them over the edge to getting those tickets?
Yeah, I mean, we'll be putting exciting football on the field, but this is the first step of many, and you'll be able to see the first step of what the future of Lexington Sporting Women's Team will become. And we have tremendous players. High ability players in the locker room that's ready to play in front of you guys. So, really looking forward to see you in face to face. And I think you'll be able to see more when you see it three-dimensionally, how good these players are. And when they're united and when they're competing in a game, it looks amazing. So, it's a first step of many that's going to improve also. So, we're trying to make history here, and, we would like you to be a part of it.
I love that answer. And then we got to work on making Tokyo Verde a sister club, and then we can get a special deal with their kits, and then it'll be all set. Absolutely phenomenal time with you, Coach Mack. We really, really appreciate you taking the time to join us, and then maybe let some of the fans out there know a little bit more about you and what they kind of expect this year.
Oh, thank you for having me, and thank you guys for this platform. Obviously increasing the fans, and there's we exist because of you guys. So I really appreciate having me in, and really continue to excited to continue to watch you guys, and really good job on the show.
We really appreciate
Thank
that a
you so
lot.
Yeah,
much.
thank you.
All right, everybody out there listening, make sure that you get your tickets. Season tickets are a steal right now. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know how you don't buy season tickets. Like,
Yeah.
even if you can't make it to a game, you have the ticket, give it to somebody else. But I don't really think you're going to find much better of a deal out there right now. So get those season tickets, get one of the kits or both.
Yeah.
My preference is you spend your money to get both because they're both amazing. That way you're flaunting them when we're at the games. Can't help that. So everybody get out to games, support Coach Mack and the players, and you know what it is. Come on, you Greens.